The question of the hour, child, is Andi planning on taking Gary back? What's good, y'all? It's your sis Erica Vane coming to you right here on Erica Vane TV with another Sistas video. In this video, we're going to deep dive into our good sis Andi, even though I don't want to, and her toxic cycling relationship with Gary, because you know I don't want to talk about that. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications so that you don't miss out on any of my sisters content. Erica Vane TV is your #1 source on the internet having sisters conversations, so you're not going to want to miss out on any of the new videos or discussions. After watching episode 9, y'all, Counterpunch, where Andi actually has a breakdown in her office when thinking about the idea of keeping the penthouse and the Rolls Royce and all of the gifts that Gary has given her, after she calls him and has that interesting exchange, she has a moment where she starts to cry. And I think that she's doing so because she really wants to take him back, even though she knows that she shouldn't. And when looking at this, like, I have been calling Andi out for her relationship with Gary this entire time. I hate it for her. I think that she deserves better. I think that she is completely worth more. And it really sucks that she cannot see her value and her worth, so much so that she's allowing a man like Gary to constantly entangle himself within her life, bring down her overall value, diminish her mental health, evoke emotional terrorism, like all of the negative things that you could possibly think of. Gary is literally doing it and or has done it in the past. And I hate to see another black woman experiencing that. Like, it really, really sucks. And I get it. I get love can make you do some crazy things. I think what I struggle with the most with Andi and why I'm so willing to jump off of this Gary roller coaster and not ride this ride with her anymore is because I don't actually understand where their love developed or that she really loves him. When I look at Zach and Karen, it's so clear to me that there's love there, there's deep love there. They were in love with each other. They had a full-on relationship. Like, there's literally solid things to like untangle from and complications and reference emotions and feelings that are not going to make logical sense, which is why you act illogical sometimes. But when it comes to Gary and Andi, I still struggle with going back and thinking of like any time. Like, I cannot fathom one time where they actually had a solid, healthy part of their relationship, where we actually saw love exchange between the two of them, where we actually saw either of them was actually in love. We have heard Andi say it over and over and over again in this series that, oh, I love Gary. Oh, I love Gary. But I have still yet to see the love from her or from him. Now, it begs the question of, okay, Erica, does she love him because she's willing to put herself through all of this with him? That could be how she shows her love. And I'm like, yes, women will go through hell and high water for a man that they love, but also women will go through hell and high water if they are the type of women who don't want to be alone, who are addicted to chaos and toxic energy without even realizing the negative connotations of what that brings. I'm really falling into the camp of believing that Andi is entertaining Gary or keeping Gary around or not able to see the true faults in Gary because of her previous toxic and abusive relationships have set a tone and an understanding for her that this is what love looks like. And that's sad. And then when you think about it and you go around the sister circle, the closest thing that she's had to seeing an example of a stable, okay relationship that had some healthy moments and deep love embedded in it was also a relationship that had a ton of toxic tendencies as well when it comes to Zach and Karen. Zach cheated on Karen. Zach gave Karen STDs. Zach thought that he got a woman pregnant. Karen has been very disrespectful and demeaning to Zach. So it wasn't necessarily a clear crystal example of what a healthy relationship looks like. You go over to Danni's end, and before Preston popped up, which Danni doesn't actually even discuss with Andi, which it could be enlightening to her to hear some of the things that are said to Danni by Preston, because to me, Preston showed more true love for Danni in the short amount of time that he's known her than any of the so-called love that Gary might have attempted to show Andi. But Danni doesn't share any of those sweet notions or words or mature conversations or any of the things that they've had. So she don't actually have Danni as an example. Her only call of reference for Danni in a relationship was a toxic guy that just wanted to hit it and quit it and was ignoring her half the time. And then aside from Calvin, we really don't know anything about Sabrina's dating history. So again, I just go around a sister circle and I'm like, dang, Andi has experienced toxic abusive love and she only has examples of other toxic love around her. So it's like, Erica, how much do I expect for sis to approve? How much do I expect for sis to see? And I give her that, right? Like, she don't have any examples, but she does have friends that are pushing her to do better and to choose better and to stand up for herself and to know her worth. I think Karen gets the most grief for how she interacts flex with Andi, but I think that Andi actually needs Karen to be that stern and that strict and that no holds bar. Even Fatima in episode 9 told Andi that she wasn't stupid, even though I think that Fatima doesn't really understand or doesn't know the full extent of all of the things that Gary has done, because Fatima has gotten Hayden beat up and put butt naked on the hood of his car for less. But she takes a moment and she really wants to reassure Andi and make Andi continue to feel good, even though I feel like Fatima is one of those characters who's going to tell you the real as well. She knows that Gary is not good news, but I don't think that she fully understands the depth of how terrible he is. And it just goes to, like, aside from Karen, Andi doesn't really have anybody pushing her to push this man up out of her life. And I don't think that everybody is really registering how bad this can be. No, he might not be abusing her like her previous relationship looked like, which was mostly physical abuse from what the girls kind of like allude to, but this constant manipulation, control, tracking, attempting to buy her affection, demeaning and disrespecting her both verbally and physically, all of that is very, very heavy abuse. And while Andi is sitting at her desk thinking that she's crying about making a decision about Gary, I think she's also crying because she's buckling under the weight of all of the bull that he has put her through. And I'm literally just sitting over here wondering, when is she gonna say enough is enough? But I said all that to say, give y'all a little context into my thoughts of, will Andi keep the penthouse and take Gary back? I think she will, y'all. She has not come to the end of the road. She has yet to hit rock bottom. She does not really see Gary for the full menace that he is. She's taking a lot of grace and giving him a lot of leeway, really having nostalgia and sweet notions and feelings around the fact that he remembers her favorite ice cream, or that she wants a surprise wedding, or that this is how she would love her dream house laid out. And she's completely looking over the fact that he has called her a whore, that he has told her that everything that she has amassed is nothing, that she is nothing, that he has brought multiple women into her home and has disrespected her repeatedly, that he has cheated on her, that he has lied to her. And if she can overlook that, I think that she will continue to do so. So yes, y'all, unfortunately for us, Andi will be keeping the penthouse and will be taking Gary back. Hopefully in season 5 we'll see her stand up, because girl, you weak in the knees. Hopefully we get to see her stand up for herself and move on. Now it's going to get a little interesting in episode 10, because Robin is going to be returning. He stays on this plane, y'all, but he's headed back to Atlanta, and he can hear it in her voice that she is revisiting the idea of Gary, and it don't seem like he's going back down and he's going to start to apply pressure. Will this help her actually make a decision? I don't think so. Will we continue to stay on this cycle between Andi and these two guys? I think so. I even think that Gary is going to be willing to let her continue to see Robin if she agrees to just take him back and allow him to continue to make it up to her while keeping the penthouse. But I would love to know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts, theories, and predictions. If you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're returning, thank you so much for checking out yet another Sistas video. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. I'm going to be responding in the comments. I'm headed there right now, and I'll see you in my next video.